Hi everybody, I'm Naomi. I've started up this channel and I aim to bring you 2 new videos a week, be that on true crime or a personal mental health vlog. And to those new to my channel, I'm a qualified mental health nurse and I have borderline personality disorder. So please check out my book on Amazon detailing my personal story of living with BPD, and don't forget to subscribe and like. Okay. So today I'll be telling you the tragic story of the murder of sisters Bibaa Henry and Nicole Smallman. All the material and sources used in this video are credited and can be found in the description box, and in line with the fair use policy, no infringement intended. Just had to put that bit out there. So now that's out of the way, let's get on. So 7th of June 2020, 2 absolute beautiful sisters were found horrifically murdered. They were stabbed to death in a London park and their bodies were left just discarded. And when they were found, they were entwined with one another. So around this time, UK was, obviously we all know COVID-19, there were restrictions in place, but in the UK at this time, they were starting to ease. So Bibaa Henry, 46, and her younger sister, Nicole Smallman, who was 27, had been celebrating Bibaa's birthday in Friant Country Park, London, with friends and family. They were meeting in an open space to comply with COVID restrictions. The girls were captured on CCTV buying items for their picnic. So despite their age difference, the 2 sisters were very close to one another. Sources described them as being the best of friends, a yin to a yang. Bibaa was a senior social worker for children's services at Buckinghamshire Council. She was dedicated and committed to caring and supporting children and young people across the county. Colleagues at her workplace described her as a well-respected, well-liked and a highly valued member of the team. I've just put up a couple of messages that were left on the communitycare.co.uk page of a colleague speaking about them, they're really lovely messages. So Nicole was a graduate from the University of Westminster. She was a freelance photographer and she did a bit of acting here and there, and she lived in Harrow in North West London. Now the girl's mother, Mina Smallman, she is a retired Church of England archdeacon. I just need to say this, that she was the first female archdeacon from a black and minority ethnic background. Wow. She reported her girls missing to the police on the 6th of June 2020, when neither she or other concerned family members and friends could not get a hold of either of her daughters. When the sisters were first reported to the Metropolitan Police, their mother, Mina Smallman, was quoted as saying, "I knew instantly they did not care. They looked at my daughter's address and thought a black woman who lives on a council estate."
2 girls, 2 women of colour. I'm trying to understand why they didn't follow procedure.
Now, during the first 36 hours, the family conducted their own searches for the sisters because the police were offering little to no help. This included the boyfriend of Nicole, Adam Stone, who had also approached the police about the sisters' disappearance and was, not taken very seriously.
We had to do the missing persons. We had to track down who was at the picnic, and then it kind of spiralled into your worst nightmare.
On the 8th of June 2020, sadly it was Adam and a friend of the girls who came across their lifeless bodies in some undergrowth in the park. Adam was actually on the telephone to the police at the time. I can't imagine the absolute horror and trauma this must have had on Adam. I mean, finding your partner's murdered body, this should not have happened, and probably would not have happened if the police had taken the disappearance of Bibaa and Nicole seriously in the first place. It's really sad that the last text message that Adam received from Nicole said, "I'm dancing in the field." One of the last pictures of Bibaa and Nicole were in fact them dancing in the field. Some say that in the picture you can see one of the sisters distracted, looking off to her left. Some also believe that she was actually staring at a potential murderer. Adam then made the heartbreaking call to Mina saying, "I found them, they're gone." Oh, can't imagine. So this prompted the police into action. Of course, they arrived on scene and secured it. So during the police searches, they recovered the girls' mobile phones from a pond and a knife believed to have been the murder weapon. Now, unfortunately, this heartbreak does not end here. The two serving Metropolitan Police officers who were posted at the crime scene to secure it left their posts to go and take pictures of the slain sisters' dead bodies. Awful. Which they later shared on WhatsApp with other colleagues and friends. It's absolutely disgusting. They were later investigated and they were charged, rightfully so, and sentenced to 2 years and 9 months in prison. So the then Met Police Commissioner, Crusader Dick, had this to say.
Has sufficient confidence in my leadership of the Metropolitan Police Service for me to continue as Commissioner. He has left me no choice but to step aside. I say this with deep sadness and regret. The murder of Sarah Everard and many other awful cases recently have, I know, damaged confidence in this fantastic police service. There is much to do, and I know that the Met has turned its full attention to rebuilding trust and confidence and to raising our standards. I am very optimistic for the future of the Met and for London.
Fell short? Fell short? Well, Commissioner Dick resigned from her post this year before she was pushed out amid failings under her watch dating back to 2005. Now, the London Mayor Sadiq Khan said it's clear that the only way to start to deliver the scale of the change required is to have new leadership right at the top of the Metropolitan Police. Watch him here.
The scale of the change, I believe, is urgently required to rebuild the trust and confidence of Londoners in the Met and to root out the racism, sexism, homophobia, bullying, discrimination and misogyny that still exists. I am not satisfied with the Commissioner's response. On being informed of this, Dame Cressida Dick has offered her resignation, which I have accepted. It's clear that the only way to start to deliver the scale of the change required is to have new leadership right at the top of the Metropolitan Police.
Well said, Mr. Khan. I sincerely hope we do see positive change within the Metropolitan Police. The hunt was now on for the killer of these two beautiful sisters. DNA at the scene and other evidence led the police to Daniel Hussein.
Mate, you're under arrest. Come out the address. Keep walking towards me. Keep walking towards me. Stay where you are, stay where you are, stay where you are. Hands on your head, stay where you are. Face me. Hands on your head, stay where you are. You're under arrest, alright?
Yeah, how do you want to do it? Give it to face the car. Yeah? Yeah. From Uniform 0, just confirm subject secure.
Occupant number 6, if you just stay where you are for now. If you please aren't with taser.
Daniel Hussein had just turned 18 years old when he brutally stabbed the sisters in the park where they had been celebrating Bibaa's birthday. Now, Bibaa was stabbed 8 times and Nicole was stabbed 28 times. During the horrific attack, Hussein sustained cuts to his own hands. And what did he do? He ran off and visited the emergency room for treatment the same day. Now, I don't want to go into the psychology aspect in trying to understand Daniel Hussein's motives behind these murders. Now, I feel that much of the true crime documentaries out there, videos and stories, give enough attention to the perpetrators and more emphasis should be on the victims. So I'm sure there are plenty of other people who have covered this case and will delve deeper into the psyche of this murderous individual if you'd like to know more, about that. But what I will say is that when Hussein was 15 years old, he was attending Thomas Tallis School in Woolwich, South East London, And in October 2017, they noticed that he was looking at extremist content on school computers, which met the thresholds for possible radicalisation. They, rightly so, referred him to Prevent. Now, Prevent is a counter-terrorism policing. It's a collaboration of UK police forces working with the UK intelligence community to help protect the public and our national security by preventing, deterring and investigating terrorist activity. And let me just say that again. Prevent is there to help protect the public. Now, the Channel De-Radicalisation Programme intervened and supported Hussein until May 2018. Following this, he had a 6-month and a 12-month follow-up and was then discharged with no further concerns reported. And I'd also just like to add here that Hussein's own father had also raised concerns about his son. During the investigation, the BBC uncovered evidence that Hussein had an unhealthy interest in the occult and Satanism. He appeared to be a dedicated follower of E.A. Coetic. I think I've said that right, pronounced it right. Real name, easier to pronounce, Matthew Lawrence. A satanic preacher with a significant following on YouTube. Now, following the teachings of this despicable human being, Hussein followed his instructions on how to enter into a pact with a demon to gain wealth and win the lottery. Now, the pact involved murdering 6 women in 6 months and signing a contract in blood. Hussein was charged with 2 counts of murder and possessing an offensive weapon. Now, in court, he pleaded not guilty to all charges. In fact, he was belligerent in court. He denied everything. He was shown the video of, video evidence of himself, and he flatly denied it was him. His behaviour in court was also disgusting. He was showing utter disrespect to the families of Nicole and Bibaa. He frequently interrupted the proceedings for toilet breaks, stared at the victims' families and female court officials, and even made an L sign for loser with his hands when the first paramedic on the scene was called to give evidence. But despite his odd behaviour, the jury concentrated on the evidence presented in the court. Now, this included his DNA on the murder weapon found at the crime scene, a blood-stained pillow the sisters had with them at the park. Hussein was also captured on CCTV going to Asda to buy a block knife set, was seen showing his passport as ID, and it was one of those knives from the block which was later found at the scene with his blood on it. He was also captured on CCTV buying candles, which is thought he used in his satanic ritual. A witness came forward to say that they had found a bag with what they thought was just rubbish in the park, so they'd left it, just beside a bin. Now, the bag was subsequently collected by bin men and taken to the local refuse centre. And police searched the refuse centre tirelessly, and to their credit, they found the bag. The bag had the picnic blankets and pillows that the sisters had used in the park for their celebration, alongside Hussein's DNA. Hussein went through psychiatric assessments and examinations. He had an established diagnosis of autism, and in his police interviews he offered this diagnosis, up to the police straight away, alongside memory loss. Psychiatric assessments also suggested that Hussein had an undiagnosed personality disorder and that there was some evidence of psychopathy. Now, Raul Carmi-Jones, QC defending, told the court that Hussein had a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder and psychiatric points to the possibility of the other mental health issues running in tandem with it. Now, this was rejected for further investigations by the presiding judge, as Hussein was not engaging fully with any of his assessments. Hussein pled not guilty in court, but was found guilty and sentenced to 35 years in prison. Now, following this horrific murder and that of murdered Sarah Everard, a white 33-year-old woman from London who went missing in March 2021, later found raped and murdered by serving police officer Wayne Cousins, hundreds of protesters marched through the streets of central London to demand an end to men's violence against women and girls, misogyny and racism ahead of International Women's Day on March the 8th. In a video message played to the crowd, Nicole Smallman, the mother of Bibaa and Nicole, said, It's not on us to ensure our own safety. It's up to the government legislation to ensure that we are kept safe and that we are believed when we come forward to say we have been attacked. Now, this is a tragic story that I feel needs to be told again and again. Now, I live in the UK and I'm interested in true crime and watch quite a lot of it, to be fair. Now, I only found out about this case when I started to research it recently. And now, in contrast to this case, the Sarah Everard case was rightly and hugely publicised in the media for weeks and months. Unfortunately, though, Bibaa and Nicole's disappearance had nowhere near the same amount of media coverage. The Independent Office for Police Conduct, IOPC for short, found police closed logs into the disappearance of Nicole Smallman, which meant officers were not sent to their home, and they failed to properly progress the inquiries into Bibaa Henry and her sister Nicole after they were reported missing. Now, is this another case of the authorities trying to sweep their inadequacies and incompetence under the carpet? Now, is the Met Police still ingrained and drenched in institutional racism? Leave your comments below. I'm really interested to see, and I will read them all. But for now, I'll leave you with this, and I hope your thoughts are with the family and loved ones and friends of Bibaa and Nicole. Thanks for watching. God bless.